Today on the podcast, brought to you by the Michigan Retailers Association, we are going to Pinconning to talk about cheese. Brian Saha joins us as we talk about the Pinconning Cheese Company. And our guest today on the podcast from Pinconning Cheese Company, it is Brian Saha. Brian, how are you, my friend?
Oh, fantastic. Sun's shining here, and we got a little touch of October weather.
We do have a little touch of October weather right now as we are heading headlong into the holidays, and it is an absolute pleasure for me to spend a couple minutes, at least virtually, in the cheese capital of Michigan. And before I kind of talk about maybe ways in which we can understand entertaining better as we go through the end of the year, for people who maybe have not been to the cheese company, can you talk a little bit about what makes Pinconning Cheese Company so special and why people are driving to this mecca of cheese in the state of Michigan?
Well, a little quick history. Pinconning cheese was originated in this geographic region dating back to 1915. A settler actually came here from Wisconsin. He was a cheesemaker by trade. He came to live with his sister at that point in time. Pinconning area at that point in time was a forestry area, and after all the timber was timbered out, it became grazing land or farmland more or less. And the settlers in this area prepared all the land for farming, and of course it was pretty flat around here at this point. So cows were brought in, and they had to do something with the milk. So they brought the cheesemaker in, and he started making his formula of cheese, which got dubbed Pinconning cheese because of its geographic location. It's a special formula that he came up with in his name was Dan Horn. So he originated the formula and had a factory here in town, and basically the stores that we have, Wilson Cheese and Pinconning Cheese, both are direct relatives as far as ownership lines from Dan Horn that marketed the cheese through the years. So, perfect. And of course, way back when in the 50s, 60s, Inez Wilson, who actually was a great promoter of Pinconning, she did all the politicking in the state and got the state to dub Michigan, or Pinconning, Michigan, the cheese capital of Michigan.
I love it. I love it. So we're obviously going through a tough 2 years. We're here with the Michigan Retailers Association to talk to you today, Brian. And so for some context, can you maybe take us back 14 months and let us know maybe what's it been like for you guys to operate two cheese shops during a global pandemic? What has changed with the business? What was good for you guys? And maybe, you know, some of the stuff that didn't go the way you wanted it to go.
Well, we pretty fearful in the first April, May, when the close downs came to pass. Just didn't know what was going to happen. We were still deemed an essential business, of course, so we kept our doors open. The traffic, of course, slowed down, and but then we started marketing our online sales, and our online sales really took off, which helped us through that hump. Basically, April was slow, but at the end of April, we marketed our online product and our online e-commerce sites, and that really took off for us and helped us through the pandemic to keep all our employees employed. We laid off a couple, but we brought them back within a week. So there was basically no effect to us on as far as layoff of our staff, and once again, the online business really helped us out through that period of time, and has kept up through that period of time. So more or less, it brought people through our e-commerce store versus coming in through our physical store, which is great. And of course, when they travel up this way now, a lot of the Michiganders anyway, because we ship all over the nation, but they remember us, and they definitely stop in our store, because of they shopped online here and wanted to see the physical store also. So.
Now, Brian, as a retailer, when you're going through something like this, where there's all these changes and there's all this unknown, how does an organization like the MRA help a business like yours sort of navigate through these issues to make sure that, like you said, the layoffs are quick or not at all, and the technology works and everything's working in lockstep with how you guys need to run your business?
Yeah. Well, the MRA was very good as a resource. I tap into them for the required forms that keep updated on the regulations. They were very, very, very good at shooting us out information, emails, to connect to the resources we need to keep up to date on, the CDC standards and the state of Michigan regulations, required reporting and signage, and from every aspect of keeping your doors open. They were very helpful and a great resource for us.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit because, as I said at the top of this, we are headlong into holiday season, and between TikTok and Pinterest, there's a lot of cheese board or charcuterie board jealousy and trying to figure out how to make these beautiful boards and what should be on them and when you should serve them and proper temperatures and things like that. And we don't need to get so far into the weeds, but for those of us who want to step up our entertaining game when it comes to cheese and appetizers like that, Brian, what's a good way to start? When do we put them out? What temperature should they be at? That sort of thing.
Depending on what type of container you have, cheese is best served at room temperature. So you want to bring your cheeses up to room temperature. Of course, you need to cover the cheese. So if you prepare a plate of slices or cubes, just make sure it's covered in saran wrap or some type of cap to keep it from the air get into, so the surface won't dry out. But depending on what you're serving, plain cheeses go good with meals because they're getting the flavored stuff. Obviously, the flavors of the cheese will tie up your taste buds, depending on what you're eating. For hors d'oeuvres, the mixture of all the flavors plus the plain cheeses, and of course the meats we have are homemade summer sausage, and our homemade spreads are always a hit too, for appetizers. So anyway, all of those cheese products in general should be brought up to room temperature, at least keep them out for an hour to warm them up from the refrigerator.
As people are making the drive or ordering online, are you seeing a particular age of cheese or style of Pinconning cheese that people are gravitating towards right now?
Of course, our main brand of cheese, the Pinconning style cheese, is our number one product. We through the years, obviously, specialize in that, of course, and we age those cheeses from mild, which is less than a week old, which that's the one that squeaks in your teeth when you eat it because it's so fresh. So people call that squeaky cheese. And then, so that's very, very popular. That's probably the number one. And then you get into the other end, the super age stuff that you have to acquire a taste for. But a lot of the older folks my age, the older you get, the sharper you get, just like human beings supposed to get. But cheeses act the same way. It gets very sharp, and sharper it is, more aftertaste, and certain reactions happen to the cheese where the salt content starts to crystallize in the cheese as it ages too. So you get that little crystal bite to it when you get up to the super age stuff, like over the 10-year-old stuff that we age. So our Pinconnings will age from actually super mild all the way up to close, 15 years old. So there's quite a range in sharpnesses. And then our Pinconning styles are base. We also mix flavors with it, like your jalapeno and Michigan cherry, and just a lot of different varieties of hot cheeses and different flavors. One of the other most quite popular ones is Morel Leaks. Actually a Colby that we add those products to and pump it out that way, produce it that way. So anyway, there's a lot of variations of plain cheese that you can get into with flavored stuff.
So Brian, let's talk about you for a second. How do you find yours? Like, what is your story? How did you end up here?
Well, I went to college and came out more or less. Well, hospital administration was my degree. Worked in that field for several years. I was per se born and raised in Pinconning, so through high school and in college, I worked at one of these shops I eventually purchased and got some grooming through there, and I said that's a pretty neat business. And then also there was a cheese factory in town, which is now closed. It was a craft plant, and I worked there in the summer and actually assisted in making cheese. So I knew the process pretty well. And then working with my per se professional job for several years in healthcare industry. The opportunity came up. I knew one of the owners, and we got talking. And he said, "Well, I'm looking at retiring," and talk came about, and here I am, 34 years later. So.
And you said, "Cheese it is, my friend. Cheese it is."
Cheese it is. Yep. Yep.
All right, Brian, before I let you go, for people who, A, are going to drive, or B, want to order online, where do they go and how do they do that? What's the website?
Website is pinconningcheese.com, PINCONNINGCHEESE.com. And we have a full catalog of all our stock gift boxes. Of course, this time of year, we ship them out all over the country. And all our products are also listed on there if you want a pound of this, pound of that, or any of our homemade spreads. And our full catalog is on there. If you can see that, but you can download the actual gift box catalog and all the other things. And as far as driving up north, we're off actually in the city of Pinconning. So if you go up I-75 or exit 181, you got to travel about 2 miles off the expressway to get to the city of Pinconning, and we're on the north end of town. So that's where we've been for 70 years, and the other shop's been there for 80 years. So it's been a mainstay for the city of Pinconning, the two shops.
Brian, this has been an absolute pleasure. I wish you and yours an amazing rest of 2021 and into 2022. Can't wait to talk to you again soon.
All right. Well, thank you.